So, WrestleMania 33 is in the books. And, yes, I saw the whole thing. I saw a lot of fucking cool shit. Because you have surprise after surprise after surprise. And most of it was actually predictable. And most of it was unpredictable. For example, let's look at the triple threat tag team ladder match. You had Anderson and Gallows, you had Kenzo, aka Big Cass, and Enzo Amore. You had Sheamus and Cesaro. Now, New Day, who was the special guest for Raw, or the special guests for WrestleMania, you had these guys come out and say that it was now officially Fatal 4-Way ladder match. And at first you thought, well, let's see. There was only one team on Raw that could go for the belts. And you saw Kofi Kingston take off his hat, if you will. He was dressed as a pirate, obviously. So they're, standing there and they look ready for battle. And whose music should hit? The Hardy Boys. That's right. Here are two individuals who, veterans in wrestling business, left WWE probably a few years, I can't remember, so a few years ago anyways. Went to TNA, Jeff Hardy, veteran of also TNA. But Matt Hardy went to TNA a few times. His final time coming back in 2015. And then the broken Matt Hardy gimmick right after the feud with Jeff Hardy. And they became a tag team in a different way. The Gothic, as I called it, the Matt Hardy Zoolander meets Sweeney Todd gimmick. Excuse me. So there's that. And it was cool just to see these guys go at it and have fun. But who would have thought that these guys would become the Raw Tag Team Champions? So I can't wait to see what happens tonight, because who knew that the Hardys would ever come back? That's awesome. That's fucking cool. So you got that. You got, the Women's Championship for Raw. You had Bayley won. I get Charlotte with that ugly dress or robe. And you got Sasha Banks coming down in a fancy old mobile car, whatever. You had Bayley, with the big giant balloons. It was very cool to see that. And again, I had made a prediction that Nia Jax, we both actually, Killer Kyle and myself both made a prediction that it would be the fucking Nia Jax winning the WWE Women's Raw Championship, which would have been cool. Bayley retained. A big surprise. And not because she's a bad wrestler, obviously she's not. But those four individuals, Bayley came out on top. And that was actually a nice surprise. Some other things that actually really pissed me off. And I wanted to leave that one for last, but what the fuck? Let's talk about this shit. You have your pre-show. You have 2 matches at least on a pre-show. I don't remember talking about this when we were doing our hour-long WrestleMania review for Wheels of Fury. When you have your fucking title on the pre-show, you would think, okay, so you had the Tag Team Championship on once. You had the United States Championship on once. You put the fucking Intercontinental title on the fucking pre-show. You fucking idiots. The Intercontinental Championship has not been relevant. It has never had the same prestige that it should have had. And I don't know how long ago it was, but the Intercontinental Championship fucking died and is no longer relevant. There was 3 fucking titles that were important in the World Wrestling Entertainment, World Wrestling Federation, whatever the fuck. The WWE title, the Intercontinental title, the Tag Team Championship titles. You took the Intercontinental title and you fucked it over. Last year, you gave it to Zack Ryder. What happened? Zack Ryder lost it the next day. The year before that, you gave it to Daniel Bryan. What happened? Daniel Bryan got injured, and then he lost it. You had him play hot potato with it before WrestleMania 31. If you're gonna do that with the fucking titles, especially the Intercontinental Championship, and I love the Intercontinental Championship, I think it's fucking cool. But nowadays, it just don't matter, and it pisses me off. You took something that, and it's not even the fact that it was the Intercontinental Championship that you put on the fucking free show. You had a great promo with Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin. 2 guys that you should have fucking put in your WrestleMania. And I said this to my friends yesterday. I said, you know what? If I were fucking one of them, I would have pulled the Warrior and I would have held Vince or whoever the fuck for ransom and said, I'm not going out until I get paid because I'm on a pre-show and I don't deserve to be. I deserve to be on the fucking card at WrestleMania 33. And I don't give a shit if it's free now. I don't give a shit if you can get the WWE Network, and I don't care because that is travesty. Mind you, they had a good match. It just would have been better if it was on a card. Now, where the fuck to go from here, I don't know. But there it is. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Chris Jericho, at least when he came back this time, they said, alright, well, we're gonna put the United States Championship on and give you the title. This match was fine. I think that, Kevin Owens kind of deserved it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where Chris Jericho is at the same level, age level as Big Show and Mark Henry, so to have him still carry the title, it don't make any sense. Big Show is, one of those guys who should have got the WWE Championship a long time ago. And the fact that, yes, they put the World Championship on him, that, whatever. But there it is. There's another guy that had the Intercontinental Championship and then lost it the next month because what? He put his fucking foot through a table. Very fucking disrespectful. but that's just me. So there you go. There's, there's a lot of good things, there's a lot of bad things. There's a thing here that it makes a lot of sense because I said it before. The match that really should have main evented WrestleMania was The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. Now, it's very sentimental because there was speculation, and I didn't even know this, but there was speculation that this was Undertaker's last WrestleMania. And I thought, well, this is pretty interesting to know that. But you could have had The Undertaker go over. And the fact that he didn't. And I'm not going to complain about that because you have Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. And it was Ric Flair's, basically, and they never really said it, but it was Ric Flair's last match. Well, last match. And Ric Flair lost. Then he had Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. And Shawn Michaels, he would have retired if he lost, but you knew that he was going to lose. And he still lost the match. Well, he obviously. So, really, if this was Undertaker's last match, which should have been at WrestleMania 30, now hear me out. Because WrestleMania was based on, it was based on the Royal Rumble winner would go on and basically win the WWE Championship, but also you would have The Undertaker and his streak. Now, WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker and ended the streak, 21-1. But that wasn't it. The Undertaker went to WrestleMania 31, beat Bray Wyatt, so it was 32-1. So they still kind of had a streak. Then you had Undertaker at WrestleMania last year face Shane McMahon, and then it was 23-1, I guess. Well, they didn't. They say they didn't count it, but they did. So this year it's like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. And Roman Reigns. Now it's funny how kind of you would think that Undertaker would have got out of the way as Roman Reigns was going back and forth into the ropes, but that didn't happen. And you have the guy go over. Third spear. Third or fourth. I can't remember how many. Kicked out of the tombstone. The last ride was kind of a botch. And see, that's how you know that The Undertaker, really has to, and not just The Undertaker, Mark Calloway himself has to retire. Because there comes a time when your body does break down and you're not as good as you once were. Now you have to respect The Undertaker. Tonight, I don't know what's going to happen. Tonight could be very well emotional. I don't know. And I can see the Undertaker come out and everyone will come and they will give him the send-off that he deserves. He loses the match. And then they go and they do the vignettes. Whatever. They do the replay, and The Undertaker gets up, and people are up on their feet and they're cheering him. And then they show more footage, and then they show The Undertaker with his coat and his hat, and then he goes to leave, and he gets back into the ring, and he takes off his gloves, puts the gloves on the back. takes off his other hand stuff, puts it on. I said the mat, but I mean the ring. His hat, his coat. He doesn't necessarily do the Undertaker bow. Then he gets out of the ring. His music's still playing. It's still blue and dark. And then, he goes up the ramp. And he puts up his arm. And he slowly goes down like the trap door. And that's it. And it's, it's very bittersweet because everybody who began to watch wrestling has to admit that it was because of The Undertaker that they were glued to the screen. For me, it was Randy Savage, Bret Hart, whoever, natural disasters. But there was always The Undertaker. There was always that guy who was interesting to watch, and it made a lot of sense. So, whether you're wrestling now, who knows, that could very well happen. And for those of you that hadn't watched wrestling in years and just watch Wrestlemania for the hell of it, it makes a lot of sense that you would probably stop watching wrestling because that's just the way some people are. That's kind of weird because now where do we go from here? It's just going to be one of those things now where every WrestleMania from now on is going to be strange because there is no more Undertaker. So there's a good chance that he will make appearances, but just won't wrestle again. That's just very weird, but also understandable because a lot of people have been thinking that, well, when's this guy going to retire? When's this guy going to retire? And it doesn't happen. Well, now it has happened. Well, so we have Alexa Bliss lost her title to Naomi, and of course we all knew that was going to happen too because Naomi is in her hometown. In her hometown. When she won the title the first time, I said, you know what? If she loses, then there's a good chance that she'll go to WrestleMania. Let's hope be in her hometown in Miami, and she'll win. So, what happens? She won. She's the new women's champion. And you could have had Mickie James, and I said there would be either one of two people that went to belt, Mickie James or Naomi, and then of course, Naomi came out on top. So there's a lot of interesting. Well, let's not talk about that shit with Turtle Boy, fucking James Ellsworth trying to do the sweet chin music or no chin music to whoever the fuck it was. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to say. It was a cool WrestleMania. I know I'm missing some matches. Oh, the Triple H Seth Rollins. So, a lot of people give a lot of flack to Triple H because he doesn't put guys over enough. The fucking guy who doesn't put guys over at WrestleMania. Well, Batista, Warrior, Undertaker. There's more. Basically, Warrior was kind of like the guy that he didn't like after a while. Batista's his friend. Undertaker he respects. So really, it's the guys that he he chooses to win to. And Seth Rollins, we didn't know. I didn't know because Seth Rollins is one of those guys who's a little bit smaller compared to a lot of other guys. Not that small, but small enough, I guess. And he won. And it was a very fucking awesome match. I didn't really know what non-sanctioned meant, but it was cool to see that, and the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match was fucking cool, just because the ring, it's like you have the maggots on the mat, and then it eventually goes to worms, and so on and so forth. But Randy Orton came out on top as the new WWE Champion. As much as I'm a Bray Wyatt fan and a lot less of a Randy Orton fan, I still like the fact that Randy Orton finally got one up on Bray Wyatt in a certain way. He hasn't really been a WWE Champion in a long time, so it was pretty cool to see that, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, I don't know if I mentioned that or not yet. But again, I knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win because Bill Goldberg is almost 50, and I think, yes, age doesn't matter, but here's the thing. In the wrestling business, who do you want to see as your champion? Do you want to see a 50-year-old, or do you want to see a 39-year-old? So, one last match that I will bring up. I don't think I brought up all of them. I could very well have. I can't fucking know. Obviously the mixed tag match. We all knew what was gonna happen. Nikki and John. When John Cena would pull off some romantic shit and propose to Nikki. Now, I don't believe for 1 second that that's a work. But I think everybody knew what was going to happen. So now John Cena is fully committed to Nikki Bella, which is great. The match is cool. Match is over. And it is the way it is. I think I clearly talked enough about WrestleMania. I know there should be more matches, but right now I'm drawing a blank. But basically, in general, this was a fucking awesome WrestleMania. And it really was. I said when NXT TakeOver Orlando was over, I thought who WrestleMania better top that. And they did. I thought they did. A good NXT TakeOver, a good WrestleMania. This was a good weekend. And I will talk about WrestleMania Orlando. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye.